This is the cleanest room in your house, but it's draining your money, because in feng shui, the kitchen doesn't care how clean it looks. It cares how energy moves. And most kitchens? They're quietly killing the flow. You think you're cooking, but something else is burning through your wealth. They say the kitchen is the heart of the home, but no one talks about what happens when that heart gets blocked. In feng shui, your kitchen is fire. Not just warmth, not just food, but the source of wealth energy itself. And when fire loses flow, money doesn't just slow, it disappears. Most people think keeping it clean is enough, but energy doesn't care about surface. It moves through intention, through heat, through love. If your kitchen isn't activated with the right energy, it turns into a beautiful trap. Warm on the outside, cold in its core, and that cold freezes abundance. Before we go deeper, just know this isn't the only room that's holding back your flow. This whole playlist is a quiet map through the kitchen, one space, one habit, one ritual at a time, to help you open the path for wealth. So stay till the end of this one, and if any part of it speaks to you, leave me a comment with the word flow, so I know your kitchen is ready to breathe again. And when this video ends, the next will show you the one mistake people make with their stove that burns wealth before it ever enters the home. Let me tell you a story. It's not dramatic. It won't make headlines. But it's the kind of story that lives in quiet kitchens and tired hearts. Her name is May, mid-40s, 2 kids. She works from home and cooks breakfast by 6:30 every single day. She keeps the kitchen spotless, preps the rice the night before, knows exactly how long the kettle takes to whistle. But for months now, the bills pile up faster. Sales fall through, and she doesn't know why. She's lighting the fire, but something about the flame doesn't feel right. Every morning she lights the stove. Same hand, same click, same soft flame. It's all there, but the warmth feels hollow. The house is fed, but the money? It's not moving. Something about the fire feels quiet, like it's burning, but not alive. And here's the thing. People think if the stove works, money will flow. But in feng shui, fire isn't just heat. It's the activator of qi. And fire, without presence, is just combustion. You can light the stove out of habit, but habit doesn't move energy. It just repeats. A flame that isn't witnessed can't speak to abundance. Qi doesn't respond to routine. It responds to rhythm, breath, awareness. And when you rush through cooking, when you light the fire with a clenched jaw and spinning thoughts, the kitchen feels it. Your body feels it. Energy fields shrink under stress. The brain enters survival mode. And in that contraction, money, like everything else, stays out. So yes, the stove is burning, but you might be missing from it. And modern science backs this up. Studies in neuroenergetics and energy psychology have shown when we bring full attention into everyday rituals like lighting a stove or stirring food, our electromagnetic field expands. It's the parasympathetic system, the one linked to healing, calm, and openness to receiving. But when we're rushed, tight, or emotionally checked out, the field contracts, and abundance, like breath, needs space to land. I asked her once, "Did you ever enjoy cooking?" She smiled. "Oh, I used to sing while stirring the soup, and now it's silence, a mechanical silence. Maybe the fire didn't go out. Maybe the song did. And with it, the energy that made abundance feel welcome. So maybe it's not about the flame itself, but the way you meet it. Because the stove doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for presence. And presence is what turns heat into flow. A quiet touch, a whispered breath. That's all it takes to turn a routine into a ritual. Because fire can only activate what's connected. And if your kitchen sits outside the current of chi, then no matter how sacred your flame, abundance might still walk right past. You can light the stove with love. You can whisper your wish. But if the kitchen sits outside the current of energy, nothing flows in to feed the fire. Pause. Visual. So donya, fong hach sang, bep toi huat fia sao. That's the part no one talks about. Not just what you do in the kitchen, but where the kitchen actually lives. In your home's energy map. In modern homes, kitchens are often placed at the back, near the laundry, tucked behind walls, far from the front door, far from movement, far from chi. Beat hingain goknya, nya dep, nung bep long lair, honge kwa lai. But in feng shui, location is everything. If the kitchen sits outside the river of energy, it becomes a stagnant pool. Chi moves like a breeze through the house, through doors, hallways, light. But if your kitchen is hidden, if it's always dark, boxed in, cut off from the living spaces, then that breeze never arrives. In feng shui, qi is often described as invisible wind, because like breath, you can't see it, but you can feel when it's moving, and you can feel when it's stuck. Qi moves along lines of least resistance, just like wind flows through open doors, air vents, or even cracks in a wall. Qi flows through spaces that are open, connected, and alive. When a room is boxed in or disconnected from the rest of the house, the qi can't circulate. It stagnates. It becomes like stale air. Traditional feng shui texts describe this using the principle of wind and water, feng shui, where wind represents movement and water represents accumulation. The kitchen, as a fire space, needs to be gently ventilated by qi, not too exposed, not too sealed, or the fire of wealth gets suffocated. Modern energy science echoes this. Biofield mapping shows that stagnant zones in a home, especially where people stand still for long periods, like kitchens, accumulate low-frequency EM waves associated with emotional heaviness. In simpler terms, if qi can't get in, your energy can't breathe. A kitchen without movement collects stuckness, and stuckness blocks abundance. It's why some people say, I eat well, I keep things tidy, but I still feel heavy in here. The problem isn't what you do, it's that nothing is reaching you. Energy mapping studies using electromagnetic field sensors have shown that certain areas of the home consistently receive less wave propagation, especially closed kitchens or rear-placed cooking zones. This means, even if you activate the space, it's like calling out in a sealed room. Nothing echoes back. Without flow, even ritual becomes whispering into a void. One woman told me, my kids used to hang out in the kitchen all the time. Now they just grab food and leave. She thought they'd changed, but it was the space that stopped inviting them. When no energy enters a room, neither does conversation, nor joy, nor money, even the warmest fire. I won't create wealth. If the room it lives in is asleep, qi needs a path, a rhythm, a reason to arrive. If your kitchen is closed to the current, your abundance might be waiting outside, with nowhere to land, because sometimes What blocks abundance isn't outside the body of the kitchen, but hidden deep within it, in corners we ignore, in clutter we don't even see anymore. It smells like lemon. Counters are gleaming, not a dish in sight. But you walk in, and something still feels off, like the room is holding its breath, because in feng shui, clean doesn't always mean clear. We're taught to clean what we can see, but the energy that blocks you often lives in what we don't. Old knives, chipped mugs, dead batteries in that miscellaneous drawer. These objects don't just clutter space. They hold emotional memory, tiny weights anchoring you to stuckness. Qi needs flow, and flow needs space to breathe physically and energetically. But when your kitchen is filled with unused, broken, or forgotten things, Qi can't move through freely. It bumps, it hesitates, it dulls. In ancient feng shui texts, objects that no longer serve purpose are seen as Qi blocks. They confuse the room, send mixed signals to the energy around you. And in modern studies, cluttered environments are directly linked to higher cortisol levels, the stress hormone. The more stuff, the more pressure. The more pressure, the less magnetism for abundance. Her name was Lin, born and raised in a Southeast Asian home, where the kitchen wasn't just where meals were made, it was where the family came alive. Her mother used to say, "Nya konu la nya kono, hong no, la lang kangui, kalong." So from a young age, Lin learned. A warm stove meant warm voices. A pot simmering meant someone cared. And the clatter of bowls was the sound of love. But life changed. Her kids moved out. Her husband worked late, and the kitchen, once full of stories, grew quiet. She still kept it clean, impeccable even, but something in it stopped breathing. In the far back of the cupboard, she kept one cracked bowl from her wedding set, unused, undisturbed. When I asked why, she paused, then said, "Because we ate from it when we still sat together." She knew in her heart that broken bowls hold broken energy, that feng shui teaches us. Objects carry the qi of the memories we attach to them, and sometimes that memory is grief. But letting go of the bowl felt like letting go of the warmth she missed. So she kept it, and the kitchen stayed quiet, still beautiful, still spotless, but no longer warm. A clean kitchen can still carry old weight. Broken tools break the energy. What you keep speaks to the universe, even if you never touch it. So clearing isn't about aesthetics. It's about making space for wealth to breathe again. You can sweep, you can toss, but if you never spoke to your space, if you never honored the fire, the rice, the warmth, then the kitchen stays quiet. Because the one thing modern kitchens are missing is ritual. Before we had apps and timers, before dinner became a deadline, we used to pause and say thank you. We whispered to the rice. We nodded to the flame. We stirred with presence, not pressure. And somewhere along the way, we forgot. You can cook with perfect technique. You can use the finest ingredients. But if you don't bring your energy into it, you're just filling plates, not feeding qi. In feng shui, the kitchen is a spiritual chamber, a sacred fire temple, but only if you show up for it. Ritual doesn't mean elaborate. It means aware. Every act of gratitude sends a signal into your energy field, a subtle shift from lack to overflow. When you thank the fire, you're not just being polite. You're tuning your field to receive, to align, and science supports this. Multiple studies on neurocardiology show that practicing gratitude lowers cortisol, opens the heart rhythm, and strengthens your field's magnetic coherence. That coherence is what money responds to, not words, not hustle, but vibration. I don't know when it happened, but there was a time I realized I'd been cooking on autopilot for years. Click the stove, stir the pan, scroll the phone, serve the food. I never really paused, never really looked at the fire, never even said, "Thank you." And when I started to feel the energy in my home slow down, money feeling stuck, rooms feeling flat, I began asking myself, what am I not putting into the space anymore? And the answer came back so quietly. Presence, reverence, gratitude. Now, I whisper something small every morning. Nothing fancy. Just one line while the pan warms up. Feed us well. Flow with ease. It's not the words. It's the feeling. And when I do that, the kitchen feels different. Like it's awake again. A kitchen with no gratitude goes cold. Energy responds to reverence. The more you thank the fire, the more the fire gives back. And maybe the ritual isn't gone. Maybe it's just waiting for you to remember. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. Because even a 1-minute ritual done with feeling can change the way your kitchen breathes. People always ask, what should I add to the kitchen? A crystal? A coin? A charm? But maybe you don't need to add anything. Maybe it's about bringing back something you lost. A rhythm, a breath, a moment. We think rituals are big, elaborate things, but in feng shui, the most powerful rituals are the smallest ones, done with presence. One quiet moment each morning can activate the energy of your entire home. It's not the object that holds the power, it's the pattern. In energy psychology, repeated gestures, especially paired with intention, reprogram the nervous system and rewire your magnetic field. And in feng shui, consistent daily action is what creates long-term alignment. Because qi responds to rhythm, and rhythm builds resonance. And here's the deeper truth. When you repeat something with intention, you're not just building a habit, you're tuning your frequency. That's the heart of the law of attraction. Your vibration shapes what shows up for you. If your mornings begin with noise, stress, rushing, you broadcast chaos. But if your mornings begin with clarity, warmth, and presence, you attract more of that. This isn't magic. It's energetic consistency. So even just 1 minute each morning can open the field. I used to walk into the kitchen half awake, head full of to-do lists, mind already racing. And it felt like the kitchen matched that energy. Chaotic, uncentered, always behind. But I started trying something small. Every morning now, before I cook or clean, I light one small candle on the stove. Take a slow breath, wipe the surface gently, and whisper something soft. Some mornings it's, let this space be kind. Other days, let today flow with ease. It doesn't always feel magical, but it always feels aligned. You don't need incense or crystals to shift energy. You need presence, pattern, and a little devotion. One breath before the flame. One whisper before the task. That's enough. It takes less than 2 minutes, but it might just unlock the energy your kitchen's been waiting for. If you want to bring the qi back into your kitchen, start here. One soft morning. One small ritual. Step 1. Before you do anything, light one small candle or burner. Not to cook, just to invite warmth. Step 2. Place your hand on the counter. Close your eyes. Take one slow, deep breath. Feel the room. Step 3. With a clean cloth, gently wipe the stove. In a slow circle, clockwise, like you're clearing old stories and making space for new ones. Step 4. Then say one line, out loud, softly, whatever you feel that morning. Some days it's, let abundance flow with ease. Other days, thank you for warmth and safety. That's it. 4 steps, 2 minutes, but done daily. It builds a field, a flow, a quiet welcome to prosperity. The kitchen isn't waiting for perfection. It's waiting for your attention. And the smallest rituals, done with heart, change everything. So now, the stove is lit. The counter's clear. The air feels softer. And maybe, just maybe, your kitchen can breathe again. You didn't buy anything. You didn't rearrange your house. You just showed up. And that is how abundance begins. If this video stirred something in you, leave me a comment below with the word warmth, JIT, so I know your kitchen is listening. And if you're ready to keep going, in the next video, we'll talk about the one mistake with your stove that could be silently burning through your wealth before it ever enters the door. See you there, in the flame and in the flow.